What's the good word? It's your boy DKB here. So we know for Joe Douglas in 2024, his NFL free agency period, he's going to need to go to the bargain bin more so than he's really needed to do in past years, right? I think realistically, we're still approximately in that $7 million range. Obviously, some extensions, some cuts, some void years added. We can get up there in that 48 million range. I did see an interesting article from The Athletic breaking down, I think, how we can get to about $68 million. But nonetheless, it still seems like a time of year where you don't necessarily want to be cheap, but you want to find those rising stars. And I have found one in the safety room that I think we can fall in love with, right? When we drafted Ashtyn Davis, I want to say back in 2020, we expected his athletic profile to shine through, right? We knew it was going to take some development, but we loved the backstory. A walk-on safety, he earned himself a role, and he excelled at it and never really looked back, right? You love those kind of blue-collar, put your head down, excuse me, grind away and get the job done types, and the athletic traits really help boost what was already there. Well, we finally started to see a return on that investment in 2023, but realistically, he's still fallen short of expectations as a third-round pick. However, the safety that I'm falling in love with in Chargers, Alohi Gilman, really is the success story that Ashtyn Davis should have been, right? You want to talk about his path. Former 6th-round pick in the 2020 draft. Coming out of college, he was known as a playmaker, right? He wasn't the most athletically elite player or anything, but he played box safety, free safety, slot corner, and he was able to just go out there and kind of destroy offenses to a certain degree. Now, he fell all the way to the 6th round because terrible athletic testing, right? This isn't, it's always funny to me with the athletic testing. It's not like preparing for a written or, oral test and things can be forgotten and stuff. This is what you've been training your entire time for. So I can see this dropping a guy down pretty significantly, even if all of the testing that goes on at pro days and at the combine aren't necessarily, football movements that would be getting done every time, right? But still, he had a 3.82 RAS score. That is something that would scare a lot of people away. But his collegiate resume definitely said that, think outside the box with a guy like this. You may need some development, but this is a guy that clearly was one of the better safeties in his draft class. Now, you start fast forwarding into his NFL career. Rookie season, began as a struggling special teams player. Heading into his second year, he did make significant improvements while still being a core special team player, where he got his best He got his best special teams grade. I believe it was like a 68.8 in year 2. Going into year 2, also started to get snaps at free safety, right? So you're finally starting to see the coaching staff trust him to get some of that developmental work in. Heading into year 3, third year, competed with the 2nd-round pick Nasir Adderley, right? This is big in and of itself because that's a pretty significant gap from the 2nd to 6th round. Even though he's been with the team longer, still you would expect a former guy, and definitely one that's tested better, to be able to hold him off without much of a problem, right? And that wasn't the case. The defense ended up really falling, to pieces in 2022 for the Chargers. Led to some player changes. This gave Alohi Gilman the opportunity to go out there and try to show that he can earn himself a starting spot, and he definitely did. He had a wonderful breakout game against the Dolphins, really opened up a lot of eyes, and he didn't really do anything to take him out of the running for being a starting safety for them in 2023. You head into last year, which is his 4th year in the league, and he officially locks down a starting job, right? And what does he do with this? The coaching staff really starts diving into his college bag, lining him up all over the place again, right? Snaps at slot corner, snaps at free safety as the deep safety, snaps at box safety. What did he do with all of this additional work, right? Obviously, his highest snap count in his career in 2023, just under 1,000 yards. All he did was go out and get the second highest defensive grade on the team, just behind Khalil Mack for the Chargers. And basically a lot of what you've seen from 2022 and 2023 in terms of this continual big leaps and bounds of improvement from Gilman here is the fact that he just makes all of the plays that you need. Every impact play you can think of when it is definitely needed, right? 4 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions, 14 passes defended for his career. And keep in mind, this is a guy that's seen the majority of his snaps just in 2023, right? Has somewhere around just under 1,800 snaps for his career. Almost saw 1,000 of that in 2023. 2022 was able to get some significant playing time. So this is a guy that has shown just give me the opportunity and I'll capitalize, right? The biggest perk is we're talking about the bargain bin free agent market here for the Jets. What do you want to do with an Ashtyn Davis? You traded a pick. Granted, it was a low one for Chuck Clark. How do you plan to attack this position, right? You feel very comfortable with what Tony Adams gave you in his first starting year, but you still want to make sure your depth is solid here. Projected contract is anywhere from $2 to $7 million per year for this guy. He's not going to get a 4 or 5 year deal most likely, but many people think that he will mimic Nick Scott or Mike Epps' contract, which would put him at a 2-year to 3-year deal worth $12 million to about $12 million. That seems to be his cap. So essentially, you're talking about a guy that you can get here for the $3 to $4 million range without much of a hassle, right? Guarantees will be decent enough. But basically, you're talking about still getting a fairly decent rookie type contract for a guy that looks like he's on the upswing, right? 26 years old, still has a lot of tread on the tires because he wasn't getting a significant amount of experience very early on. This is a guy that I think not only is an upgrade over a guy like Ashtyn Davis, but you put him behind Tony Adams or use him to compete with Tony Adams. Those two players push each other. You have a backup for a Michael Carter II if you want to in the slot, or you can go out there and use this guy to become your new starting strong safety to replace Whitehead on a cheaper deal, or you're replacing Ashtyn Davis with him. Either way, it's an upgrade at almost every spot, whether it's depth or starting opportunity for him. So let me know what you guys think about him. I'm hoping he slips under the radar with all of the changes going on with the Chargers, but he's a guy that's hard to fail to notice and recognize with what he's been able to do in the last 2 years. So I'm hoping we can snag him. We'll see how things pan out, but let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you again. Peace.